Rarely do I get the chance to relax. We had scarcely arrived when it started pouring rain. Welcome back to Lingoni English. My name is Emily, and in this lesson, we're learning an advanced grammar structure, inversions with negative adverbials. So why are we learning this today? Well, it's an advanced grammar structure that will help your English sound more formal and more sophisticated. With this, you change the word order in English, which helps it have a little bit more style or elegance when speaking or writing. So what exactly is inversion? So typically in English, the word order goes subject plus verb. But with inversion, you're flipping that. So you're doing verb plus subject. And when you're using negative adverbials, you'll need to invert the word order of the sentence to make it sound correct. So for example, she never visits us. This is normal word order. She never visits us. Now, if we want to change this to sound more elegant or just nicer in English, you would say, never does she visit us. Now, this sounds pretty funny, I'm sure, especially because it's not often heard in normal conversation. So when would we use these? Negative adverbials are often used to add emphasis or literary tone to your writing or your speech. It's much more common in formal contexts, and it helps to highlight your adverbial phrase. So oftentimes you'll hear this in speeches, maybe from the president giving a speech, or you'll read it especially in older novels, or just any formal setting typically is where you're going to see it. Now, that's not to say you won't use it in informal situations too. Let me give you an example. If someone says, "Never have I ever seen such a beautiful sunset," that's not a formal scenario. I mean, it could be, but that's also something you would hear someone say every day. So I don't want you to disregard this as only a formal thing in English. It's oftentimes seen in formal situations, but really it's something you should know even when speaking everyday English. Okay, now let's take a look at some common adverbial phrases that trigger this inversion. The word never. And like I just said before, never have I seen such a beautiful sunset. Never did they expect to win the lottery. Rarely do I get the chance to relax. I have a 2-year-old at home. Rarely has she been so angry. Seldom do I eat fast food. Seldom does this happen in our town. Barely had she finished her meal when the doorbell rang. Barely had he gotten over his ex when she called him again. Hardly had I entered the room when the phone started to ring. Hardly had they finished the project before a new one began. Scarcely had we arrived before it started to rain. Scarcely had she spoken before the audience began to applaud. Next one, no sooner than. No sooner than we left had it started snowing. No sooner had he finished speaking than the room erupted in applause. Little did they know what was about to happen. Little do you realize how much work this actually involves. Not only but, and not only but also. Not only did she win the race, but she broke the record. Not only does he speak 5 languages, but he also teaches them. Okay, so some of those were probably not new for you, and the ones that are new, just practice, and over time it'll become second nature. You don't even have to think about it. Okay, so let's quickly break down exactly how to structure these sentences just so that you're 100% sure. First, you want to identify the negative adverbial that you want to use. Then place the negative adverbial at the beginning of the sentence. Then invert the auxiliary verb or the modal verb, and continue your sentence as usual. So, invert this sentence. He has never seen such chaos. Never has he seen such chaos, exactly. Also note that if there is no auxiliary verb in the first part of the sentence, just add do, does, or did. She rarely goes out. Can you make that sentence inverted? Rarely does she go out. Yeah, you add the does for she. So, rarely does she go out. Okay, and before I wrap this up, let's go over a couple of common pitfalls you might find yourself in when trying to practice these. Don't forget to add that do, does, or did if you're in need of an auxiliary verb. So it is not seldom I go to the gym, it's seldom do I go to the gym. Seldom do I go to the gym. Also, don't misplace that negative adverbial. Make sure it's at the beginning of the sentence. So, although you can say, I have never seen such a thing, if you're trying to do this the way we've learned in the video, it would be never have I seen such a thing. Also, last note about this, although it is a beautiful way to speak English and it's very cool and interesting and it's really changing up your regular speech pattern, do not overuse it. It will sound totally weird and nobody would know why you're talking like that. Really just throw it in every once in a while to mix up the sentence structure or to keep your speech or writing interesting. But if you do it all the time, it'll be distracting and will be very strange for the reader or listener. So just stick to the areas that you want to add a little impact. Okay, so that's it for this video. If you want a little bit more practice, don't forget lingoni.com has a worksheet for this lesson, as well as interactive exercises to practice what you just learned. All right, thanks again for watching, and we'll see you guys in our next video. Bye!